1 year ago, I made my first game, and honestly, it was pretty bad. But in the 12 months since then, I've made more games, learned a lot of new things, and improved my game development skills a lot. And in this video, I'm going to show you the journey of my first year of making games. It wasn't exactly easy. In May 2021, with absolutely no experience in game development or programming, I thought, I want to make a game. So I opened the Unity game engine for the very first time, and frankly I had no idea what I was doing. So I went to Google, and I found every new game developer's savior, Brackeys. I followed one of his tutorials for making a game, and I had a working game. It was literally just a cube that moved, but I felt so proud of myself, and I absolutely loved the feeling of satisfaction that I got from making something that worked. I remember changing like one thing from the tutorial and feeling like a pro developer already, even though what I did was really not very impressive at all, and I actually had no idea what I was doing. Now that I was clearly the best game dev ever, it was time to start work on a much bigger project, one that would take me over 20 hours to complete, which now that I think about it really isn't that long. I was going to try and make Temple Run, but in first person. I spent what felt like ages at the time following more tutorials and adding features until I eventually had created the ultimate first-person parkour endless runner game. Wow, that's hard to say. Deadly Dash. Deadly Dash is actually still one of my favourite games that I've made, and I often still just play it for fun sometimes. I think it's mostly just because of the raw parkour aspect and interesting obstacle design, with no fancy grappling guns or wall running or anything. Maybe like this video if you want me to remake it, but way better. Next, I decided to delve into 2D game development. Once again, I followed tutorials, but this time for a 2D platformer game. It gave me the opportunity to learn about level design, animations, 2D art and tile maps. And I also ended up with a pretty decent game, even if it had some questionable character design. After the success of Deadly Dash earlier in the year, I decided that I was going to completely remake it, but without everything that made the original game actually good and unique. Instead of Temple Run in first person, the new concept was meant to be kind of like Jetpack Joyride in first person. I added tons of different movement types, like a jetpack, wall running, a grapple, which was literally just taken from a Downey tutorial, and the worst feature of all, zip lines. The zip lines were just taken from some random tutorial because I still basically didn't know anything, and they were incredibly scuffed and didn't fit the game at all. Like, you couldn't even jump onto them unless you were next to the pole at the start. For some reason, I also added a gun, which you can shoot, and these very weird enemies that didn't move and shot bullets out of their eye because, well, I couldn't get them to shoot out of a gun. There was some cool stuff about the game though, like an online leaderboard, some really fun levels, and lava, because lava is red and cool. It also introduced me to things like post-processing to improve graphics, which I now use in literally every game. Now, remember how I said Deadly Dash took 20 hours to make? Well, this game, which I called Jetbound, took 3 months. All for everyone to just say it was another Carlson clone, which it pretty much was. Then I made Pong, because, well, everyone makes Pong at some point, and it also allowed me to practice my skills a lot. In fact, it was the first game I made without using a single tutorial. Except it was kind of terrible, like why is the sensitivity so high? Near the end of the year, after making all these games and also liking the idea of making videos, I started to make videos about making games and put them on this YouTube channel. First for this channel, I made another 2D game about saving the ocean, which had a really calming vibe and taught me how to make 2D vector art. It was also my first game jam, and I really liked the experience, being able to play other people's completely unique games made with the same theme in mind. Next, I put my game dev skills to the test, and challenged myself to make a game in only 3 hours for a game jam, which I ended up doing successfully. It was cool seeing how much better other people's games made in that time frame were though, and how much I still had to learn. I joined another game jam, where I made a really awesome roguelike game where you controlled a sword. I enjoyed developing that game a lot, since it was a genre I'd never really seen before, and because I faced so many challenges. I struggled so much with getting random dungeons to generate properly, but I eventually did it and I just felt so happy. I also wanted to make sure I had lots of polish, so I learnt about new things that I'd never used before, like screen shake, and I made sure to use lots of satisfying sounds and particle effects. From that point on, I made sure to add lots of polish to every game. Next, I experimented with some ideas that never ended up seeing the light of day. I tried making a 3D survival game with infinite generation, using this tutorial from Sebastian, I don't know, but that proved to be way too difficult for my skill level. I developed a puzzle game kind of like Snake, where you had to fill up a grid, but I got bored of making levels and couldn't come up with any more designs. I even worked on a tower defense game at one point, which was actually turning out pretty well, and I can't even remember why I stopped working on it. For some more fun, because I basically have no life other than whatever this is, I then entered another game jam, and my game managed to place in the top 20, which was pretty cool. The game basically involved defending this egg by destroying the rocks around it and upgrading different attributes. It was almost like a clicker game. After that, I experimented a bit with a different game engine, aka PowerPoint, the best game engine. I remade the rhythm game Osu purely inside PowerPoint using animations, and it turned out way better than I expected. Throughout the months after that, I continued to make and develop more and more games, all of which I made videos about, which you can check out on this channel. I remade other popular games with interesting twists, and made unique concepts for game jams, all helping me to develop my skills and become much better at game development. Overall, my game development journey over the last year has been a long one. I've made so many games and so many videos, and when looking back at my first few games, it's insane how much I've learnt and improved. Just know that you don't need a lot of experience to start making games, and if you want to, just do it and make your first game. This channel also just hit 1,000 subscribers, and at the rate it's growing right now, it'll probably have 2,000 when this video comes out. And that's honestly super crazy, since a month ago I only had 100. So thank you so much for all your support, it honestly means the world to me, and I can't wait to continue making more content and games in the future. So I mean, maybe subscribe for that. In the meantime, you should join my Discord server in the description, because we need more members who actually use it. And also check out this other video which definitely might interest you.